This video is dedicated to entire Cassiopeia team and Irina Podzorova personally. Her open, bright and pure soul, which brings light and love to our planet and to all mankind as a whole. Exactly 1 year has passed since the moment of our fateful meeting. Exactly a year ago, on the 1st of April, God himself was probably joking. I sent 12 questions to the village of Povorino to contact with extraterrestrial civilizations Irina Podzorova. I had no idea how these questions would affect my entire life, and not just mine, future life. Irina, could you answer these questions after contacting with extraterrestrials? I will answer the questions about the creation of race and its aim, because we discussed it many times. So I will tell you what I remember. So the first question: what was our race created for on Earth? Our race on Earth was created by 3 civilizations. There is also one more question. What space races were used to create us? These questions are connected to each other. The planet itself was discovered 5 million years ago by cosmonauts from planet Universecreation. I pronounce all names in Daral because I am a contactee of Daral, which is located in the Orion constellation, star P, as I remember, at a distance just over 1,000 light years from Earth. I was there physically with Kirkhiton on my contact with him in September 2018. I have these notes. I am actually keeping a diary, so I can provide all materials on the planet Universecreation. Residents of Universecreation look like people of Slavic appearance, only they are giants. They are usually from 5 to 8 meters tall. When I was on Universecreation, my height was up to their waist only. They are much higher than Kirkhiton and especially me. They are very, very tall. 5 million years ago, when Universecreation discovered our planet, there was life and animals already, but there were no sentient people here. The Universecreation actually have a goal to spread sentient life throughout the galaxy. They consider it their mission. And their closest partners in this galactic mission are extraterrestrials from planet Kirkhiton. It is located in the Cygnus constellation. It is 670 light years from the Sun. Kirkhiton is the most important planet now in the interstellar union, which includes 116 planets, including Daral, Eslea, Tashik, Universecreation, and so on. Earth is not part of this union yet. After seeing our animals, specifically ancient primates, similar to our modern apes, only they were larger, and Kirkhiters and Universecreationists decided to do experiments with these primates, combining their genetic material with their own, in order to produce a sentient being. Why did they decide to do this? Because it was related to their religious worldview. Their idea of God does not conflict with science, unlike in our world. Religion and science are not separated in their meaning. Both of them described the universe laws. They believe that God created sentient spirits and material world for them to incarnate here and achieve their goals. Because in the spirit world, we can only dream, we can create some images, and only in the material world we can achieve goals. That's why God created us as spirits, then He created material world. According to them, sentient people, including me and you as well, we all were created before the creation of the material world. We just do not remember it. They believe in this, and they are even sure in this. The material world was created gradually. Planets were created, galaxies were formed, and there were planets where life was possible. And this life evolved, but not by chance. It was directed by the so-called divine spirit. Thus, substances were combined in a certain way to produce organic matter. Therefore, the very first cells were created, and so on. But again, not by accident. This is called a directed evolution of life development. Then animals began to develop on some planets. Their central nervous system started development, and when it allowed, the fact is that a sentient spirit cannot be incarnated in every being. It needs a certain development of the brain, so that spirit could be able to act through it, talk, think, imagine. A sentient spirit, for example, cannot be incarnated in a cat or a dog because it cannot talk or think. That's why not all central nervous systems can be used for sentient spirit incarnation. In Daral, a sentient spirit is called limis. And when the animals living on the planets reached such development threshold that it was possible to incarnate, the sentient spirits were incarnated. For the first time, this happened not in our universe, not even in our galaxy. Then it happened in our galaxy, including the planet of Tumisod several hundred million years ago. This was the beginning of their civilization. They began to develop, reproduce, went through technical development, went into space to make various discoveries. Then interstellar travels began, and 5 million years ago the Timisotes discovered our planet. They decided that if there were primates on Earth who were not developed enough for a sentient spirit to incarnate in them, then they could help them by giving them genetic material to make a crossbreed. They considered their mission to give as many Limi spirits as possible to incarnate from the spirit world. This is some kind of mission for them. So they consider us as genetic material and perform experiments on us? Yes, we are crossbreeds. So there were Burkhaders, Timisotes. Then the third civilization from Cain's Venatici constellation, planet Selbit, joined Timisode and Burkhad. If the residents of Burkhad and Timisode were similar to humans, that is, they were anthropomorphs, if I call it in Russian, humanoid civilizations may or may not look as humans. The inhabitants of Selbit are cold-blooded. They are similar to our lizards, only they walk on 2 legs. And these are actually reptiles. They are also not mammal as we are. They are oviparous. Selbit also decided to participate in this crossbreeding experiment. They initially had disputes among themselves because Selbit wanted sentient reptilians from our animals to be created on Earth. But Birkhead and Thimisotes were against this due to a poor gene compatibility. So they disputed whose genes should dominate in a crossbreed, that is us. Nevertheless, the experiment started, and about 3 million years ago, the first people appeared. Sentient spirits, limises, incarnated in them. They became sentient people. Unlike primates, humans no longer had fur, had an upright posture, they had no tail, and so on. After millions of years, Thimisotes came in contact with Moses, a biblical character. He really existed, and he was a contactee with Thimisotes. And Thimisotes told him what was happening in a simple mythological form. They had contact on the mountain where their spaceship has descended. And all of this is described in the Old Testament Bible, actually. Everybody knows it. Of course, he couldn't understand much because he did not know where was space and other planets. There was no such technical development then, no electricity, not speaking about flying vehicles. Therefore, all who came down from sky were seen for him as gods. Thimisotes did not convince him in the opposite, believing that it was easier to give knowledge in mythological form for primitive, undeveloped people, because they could not understand it. So they presented themselves as gods that provide some knowledge for humankind. They told Moses how a man was created, as it is stated in the Bible. God formed a man from the dust of the ground and blew into him the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Their knowledge is encrypted here, actually. The dust of the ground, this is the genetic material of primates. Dust represents here an undeveloped life. The breath of life means that they combined the genetic material of primate with their own, Birkhead, Thimisotes, and Selbit. However, the genetic material of Selbit residents is scarce in us. But in genetic diseases, such as ichthyosis, these genes are manifested, because a man gets scale in this case. This is a reptilian heritage. How many civilizations were on Earth before the human race, and where did the previous one go? I was told the civilization was originally human, as we are, but Earth itself and the solar system were arranged differently. There was no moon. It was actually a planet between Mars and Earth. Earth was a little closer to the Sun, and there was a supercontinent on it. The base of our creators was where the Mediterranean Sea is now located, closer to the shores of Turkey, in the modern geographical sense. In the solar system, Venus and Mars had oxygen, so they were suitable for our people living. And there was even water on Venus and Mars. So these two planets were fitted for the people to live on them. 200,000 years ago, when people on Earth multiplied, our creators decided to transport some people to Mars and Venus to build cities there and populate the solar system with people. Because, again, it corresponded with their mission. The spread of sentient life in space. About 200,000 years ago, people were transported to Venus and Mars. Cities were built, necessary plants were planted, and people lived there for many millennia. But 12,000 years ago, on planet Selbit, a different political system came to power. Such humanoids were against Burkhead, and they started a war. There were also contradictions about people. Earth, Mars, and Venus were considered as colonies of Burkhead. People were undeveloped, and extraterrestrials helped us. They provided knowledge, but did not do our development for us, believing that people should develop themselves. Then Selbit attacked our planet, Mars and Venus, because Selbit inhabitants believed we were created incorrectly, that the crossbreeds were too aggressive and difficult to control, and we should be destroyed so we wouldn't be a problem in the future. That was their opinion. Selbit, of course, was expelled from the interstellar union due to an attack to our planets. According to the rules, an exception is valid until the end of war and the punishment of all those responsible persons. But Selbit did not stop there and applied a serious weapon that changed the Earth's orbit. This caused the Earth's supercontinent split. Many people died, floods, volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes began. Earth began to move away from the sun. And by its attraction acquired a satellite, the moon. The moon almost collided with Earth, but Burkheaders were able to prevent it. Otherwise, Earth could be completely destroyed. During this war, Burkhead and Universecreation had to fight off the reptilians and at the same time evacuate those who survived on Earth, because the conditions of life on Earth became unbearable due to climatic changes. All this went into a mythology called the Great Flood. The destruction of Atlantis and so on. Yes, all of those places existed at that time. And the Atlantis inhabitants were really very developed because they were in contact with extraterrestrials, our creators, who gave them knowledge, including spiritual knowledge. Burkheaders took the survivors to Mars, and there was no war at first, but reptilians destroyed them there soon. Almost everybody died on Mars. They managed to get people out of Venus before Selbit used chemical weapons there, spraying gases. So Venus became what we know it now, a destroyed planet where life is not possible. They made it like this.
Так далее, что вот Венера превратилась в то, что мы сейчас видим. Выжженная там планета, где невозможно жить. Это такое ее сделали.
Survivors were sent closer to the core of the galaxy on planet Disaru. They still live there. They already fly between the stars. They entered the interstellar union and even fly to Earth. They are very similar to us, and if you give him other clothes, then on the street you will not distinguish him from our person, because we have the same genes with them, the same people, only that they live on other planets. And there were blockade bases on the moon before the war, because it was the closest planet to Earth. And survivors from Earth were transported to bases on the moon to transparent like glass domes. In mythology, these actions are described as Ark. Noah's Ark, for example. But this ship did not float on water. It was a mythological form for description of a spaceship. And it was not the only one ship. Several ships were able to save several thousand people and animals. And many animals died, such as dinosaurs, for example. Not only dinosaurs, but many bird species, for example, could not also survive. Previously, humans and dinosaurs lived side by side, together. There was no such separation. Our people perceived this war as the actions of demons or evil gods. There was paganism in that time with the concepts of good and evil gods. Evil gods wanted to kill people, and the good gods wanted to save them. That is how they saw the situation and this catastrophe. When all this on Earth came down, it was cleaned a little from radiation with special devices, and people were moved back. But the planet already had other climatic conditions, such as winter. Previously, even at poles, there were tropical plants growing, and after all these events, it started snowing. And there was a moon in the sky that hadn't been there before. Since then, 12,000 years ago, they decided to leave our civilization without special care. Flights to Earth stopped, but it was decided to look for contactees, so that civilization could develop, but independently.
Да, Phaethon, значит, планета Phaethon, это была планета,
was there a planet called Phaethon? It was a planet between Mars and Jupiter. There is an asteroid belt in this area now. It was also a planet, there are also alien bases there, but Selbit used such a weapon that Phaethon fell into pieces. Because there was war, blockaders did their best to save us, and a lot of them died. So Phaethon fell into pieces after this weapon was used. And our Earth could also have expected this, but Berghead repulsed the attack of the reptilians. Who told you the conditions to become a contactee? I asked him. Ufologists asked this question like Maxim, how do they choose a contactee? I asked him and wrote down what he told me. You write everything down in your cell phone? Yes, I asked Kirkhiton, and when I came out of contact, I wrote everything down, what he told me. So how do they choose a contactee? So I will speak specifically about Daral, because he told me Daral conditions. The conditions for choosing a physical contactee of Daral, because they have only physical contactees, those who meet with them in physical body and then taken physically to different planets. So the first condition is personal desire. A person must desire it. Nobody will persuade him. He must desire it himself, so that when extraterrestrials suggest him to become a contactee, they wouldn't get refusal. The second is no fear of UFOs and aliens. There should be no distrust of thoughts that they will not bring him back. They don't like it. The third, the desire to explore the world. They like people who are interested in everything. The fourth condition, the absence of conscious aggression directed against sentient beings. Aggression in this case is possible only when defending yourself. That's fine. But a person shouldn't have a deliberate wish to harm somebody. They also don't like it. Energy of such people changes. The fifth, the desire to fly into space. It's clear that a person will be taken to space. The sixth, no fears or phobias. Even if a person is afraid of some simple thing like a spider or a mouse, he will not fit for contact. I asked why. Because he already has a fear of alien life forms in his subconscious, and that doesn't fit, even if there is no fear for the extraterrestrials themselves. The seventh, the absence of religious fanaticism in any form and habit to impose their views on others. I think that's because they don't want to hear moralizing or hear in their dress that they are demons. They don't want to change some other people's mind. The eighth, tolerance for opinions and beliefs of others. That's also because they want to make themselves safe, because they will tell about ancient astronaut theory and they don't want disputes. They want to see tolerance in their dress. The ninth, intolerance to crimes against life and health, as well as sexual integrity of other creatures. They don't want contact people who encourage crimes, because this is aggression. They don't want aggression to be proved. The tenth is interesting. The absence of sexual perversion, pedophilia, necrophilia, zoophilia, sadism, and masochism. A person should have a normal sexual orientation. I asked him about this condition. Pedophilia is a crime, that's clear with this, aggression to children. But why necrophilia and zoophilia in this list? It's not aggression actually. He said that sexual connection in such forms changes the energy. That's why such people do not fit for contact. The 11th, normal sexual orientation. No homosexuality admitted for men and women. With such disorders, something happens, they say, with the aura, and it becomes weakened after connection with the person of the same sex. And if they have weak aura, then the extraterrestrial aura can harm him and lead to diseases even. And the 12th condition. The absence of physical diseases that interfere with space flight with aliens, such as hypertension, arrhythmia, past strokes and heart attacks, heart failure, liver failure, renal failure, poor hearing and vision, epilepsy, diabetes mellitus, oncology, allergies, and reduced immunity. Speaking about allergy and reduced immunity, you come to a different planet. So if a person has allergy on Earth things, then nobody can predict how his organism will feel when he is on another planet. And the immunity should be strong in order not to get some extraterrestrial microbes, let's say so. How to develop superpowers: clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairgnosis, telepathy, telekinesis, and so on. What you call clairvoyance, hearing and seeing, are not some superpowers. They are forms of contact with some life forms. If we are talking about, for example, seeing the future, then this is a contact with angels or some good spirits, because only God knows the future. In ancient times, such people were called prophets. As to telepathy and telekinesis, telepathy is transmitting thoughts at a distance. For some people, it's a natural ability. I have a telepathic communication with Midgaskaus from planet Eslea. But it is possible because I have a chip inserted inside me that changes my brain waves when I contact him in order to receive his thoughts and transmit my own. I couldn't have done it without the chip. Telekinesis is associated with human energy, hence the phenomenon of poltergeist, when the things are flying in the house. More often, the reason is a human factor. This is a telekinesis that person is not aware of. In other words, a person has a vital energy that comes out under stress. It's common for children and teenagers usually. And when they are stressed or sad and their energy exits, suppresses the gravity in some object, and then it will fly up. To have conscious telekinesis, you must concentrate your thoughts so that you are 100% sure of success. Only faith gives such energy, or rather the ability to get this energy out of you. Only the faith that telekinesis is possible gives energy. Those who can levitate, they are 100% sure that if they tell their brain to fly up or make an object flying, it will happen. People are capable of both telekinesis and levitation. The only thing that prevents them is their disbelief in this possibility. They block the energy. What is the devil? Extraterrestrials have a different faith than Christians. Devil is the image. The serpent, dragon from the Bible. It's because when Christianity was formed, it was also with help of extraterrestrials, or rather their contactees. Thus, the physical father of Christ was from planet Burkhardt, his physical father, and his mother was taken to a spaceship. She was a contactee, and they gave her the genetic material, and then later she gave birth to Christ. Then Christianity was formed and Christ resurrected because Burkhardt took him away on a ship and restored his body. In the description of those events, it was the accession of Christ. He was taken away by a cloud. He was their representative, actually, who came on earth with a mission. When forming the Christian faith, the devil was placed as a symbol of evil in the universe. The serpent, the dragon, fought with Michael the archangel. And this is the symbol of Salbert War, who wanted to destroy the human race. And the Salbert extraterrestrials still don't treat us well. I was on Salbert, they took me there. They don't treat us well. So this is the devil. There are also demons, evil spirits, or lemises that do evil and enjoy it when they make something bad. There are such spirits that are called demons. They can be incarnated or non-incarnated. In the spiritual world, there is a line for incarnations. And some demons do not want to wait in line and choose people with a weak will and forcefully occupy their body. It actually violates God's law.
Но это нарушает закон Бога, они должны дождаться.
How to communicate with your own soul? They have a slightly different terminology, and let me explain. Their soul is a spirit, like we. We are spirits incarnated in the body. And angels and demons are spirits who are not incarnated in the body. But unlike orthodoxy, angels and demons can also be incarnated here. That is, they believe in the reincarnation of the soul. The soul is a spirit united with the life force that connects it to the body. After death, the soul of a person or any humanoid comes out, and for about 40 days it stays with its soul's energy. But gradually its life energy, due to the death of the body, dissipates, and then it becomes a spirit. So a soul consists of spirit and life force. And the spirit itself consists of three parts, because the Trinity is a symbol of everything in the universe. Mind, spiritual heart, the essence of the soul, and energy. Each of these parts, in turn, also consists of three parts. Mind consists of thinking, imagination, and memory. Spiritual heart consists of feelings, wishes, and instincts, if it is incarnated. Energy consists of consciousness, emotions, and will. And will is the energy needed to take action. Feelings, in their opinion, are different from emotions. Feelings are an attitude towards something expressed in a wordless form, and emotions are just a reaction, energy that is needed for the reaction of the spirit to change a particular environment, external or internal. So that's how they see it. The next question is, does each person have their own non-physical mentors for growth and development, and how to communicate with them? Of course, they are called guardian angels in religion, and they are spirits with a certain level of development. When we go to incarnation, we are usually given such a companion, a mentor from the highest level. Even demons are given such mentors. They need it even more than we do, because we have taken some kind of responsibility upon ourselves. In general, there are 24 spiritual levels in the spiritual world. From the 1st to 6th are demons. From 7th to 8th are spirits of nature, plasmoid civilizations, spirits of the elements. From 9th to 16th there are ordinary spirits who do both good and evil, so to speak. From 17th till 24th there are good spirits, in our terminology called angels. Every person has guardian angels, not just those who are baptized, though sometimes the spirit does not have an angel, and this is when his higher mentors decided that he should try to live on his own, like without any guidance. And typically, communication with mentors takes place mentally. For example, a person came up with a good idea. He doesn't realize where the thought comes from, because mentors try not to show themselves, so that a person can develop independently, without relying too much on them. They believe that independence is the best condition for development. You can communicate also with mentors telepathically or spiritually. Although a spiritualistic session is considered an incomplete contact, since the information transmitted by the medium during a spiritualistic session with the help of material objects will be greatly distorted by the medium's consciousness. And then it's difficult to understand whether the information comes from spirits or medium's subconsciousness. Is there a destiny? There is no predetermined fate for each person. Fate is actually the way of our life. But a person makes his fate for himself by making a choice. Life itself is neither good nor evil. It is a container of good and evil, depending on what we turn it into. Every spirit is judged by God after leaving the body. Though the term court is not correct, it is a kind of analysis of life. There is no way to say that I was manipulated or it is not my fault, because you will be aware that you made the choice yourself, and what kind of fate you have built for yourself depends on your inner desires, aspirations, the amount of good and evil, education, and so on. There are people who were born in bad families, alcoholics, and so on. But they could get out of such bad conditions and were able to become good. And there are reverse examples. The people were born in families of professors or churchmen, and they became criminals. And it is a person's choice and his fate. Destiny depends on the choice. In order to answer the following questions, Irina needed to make contact with Kirkhiton. So the question is, can a person change the past and the future?
Который может человек без разрушения своих физических достичь в земных условиях.
Okay, I will ask him these questions.
Привет от меня.
And say hello to Kirkhiton from me and Maxim. We are so excited. It's all very interesting.
Конечно, ну и он меня просил, чтобы ты поговорил. Вот это же все очень интересно, это все очень-очень интересно. Мне тоже заинтересовало вообще.
Ладно, сейчас передам.
I will give him your regards. Ten minutes passed. My head is spinning a little. I need some time. If you wouldn't come and help me, I could fall down from the bed. It was with me before. Thank you. What Kirkhiton said. Kirkhiton, he is surprised that you came back again so fast. I said that you would like to get additional information, also on scientific topics, like engine structure. And he also sends you his regards as well. And he's glad that Earth people are so interested in contacting him, though they have to make such a long way to me. I'm his first contact about whom so many people found out about. And actually he has a lot of contactees, but everyone prefers not to talk about contacts, knowing they will not be believed. And Irina, actually me, the only one who revealed contacts. Let's remind the questions about future and time. Yes. Can a person manipulate time? If you mean a time machine, then there is no such technology. In the interstellar union, such experiments are conducted, and there is some success in moving objects. But in order to move a living person into the past, you need to transform him into some kind of waveform and then send him back in the course of time. And such experiments are going on, as I already said, but Earth people are still far from it, very, very far, because we are not developed enough to control time. And to go to the past or to the future. There is the only way to get into the past without a physical body. It is astral traveling. You need to get out of the body, and it is important to have a desire to get into the right time period. And then you will actually get there, you will watch events, but you will not be able to influence anything. You will be a ghost there, because the vibrations of astral body are different from the vibrations of the physical reality. That's why they cannot affect each other. Is it possible to change the past and the future? We can only change the memory of our past, but by changing the memory of the past, we change the present and therefore the future. It's a great answer. I like it very much, because Maxim always says it. Really? It's great that their opinions are similar. In general, time is only our perception in physical body, and time itself does not exist. This is our countdown to infinite time, which is called eternity. This eternity exists in the spirit world. But we have invented time periods for the convenience of living in the physical reality. We have days, cycles of the sun, but this is just a convenient instrument to live in physical reality. There is only eternity in the world. In eternity, everything happens simultaneously: the present, the future, and the past. God, creating us, already knew what would happen next to us. There is no time for Him, as well as for the spirits in the spiritual world. When, for example, I go out into astral, I get the feeling that I have always been, I am at the moment, and I will exist forever. That I will not die and always have lived. And I can say these feelings bring joy. But in physical body, we do not feel it, because our consciousness is diverted to this world to act in it. We do not pay attention to the fact there is a contact with our mind in our subconscious. the memory of life in spiritual world and of past incarnations is blocked for us. Otherwise, we would not be able to live here in physical reality, because remembering our past lives in other worlds would interfere. We would live a past life. What is the maximum level of energy that a person can achieve in Earth conditions without destroying his physical body? This level of energy is largely individual, because you can have one level of energy and me another. For example, also during my mental contact with Kirkhiton, which you just watched, the flows of energy that enter me make my body moving, and you have seen how it looks like. And while we have body, energy level depends on the body, because we get additional energy with the help of chemical reactions that occur in our organism due to the slow oxidation of food substances with oxygen. Oxygen reacts with various substances and occurs in cells to release vital energy. In order to achieve the maximum level of energy, you need to take care of your body, eat properly and variably, observe the measure on food. You shouldn't eat too much or too little. And it is important also that food should be different. One and the same food always will not give additional energy. It is also important there is no oxygen starvation of the tissues. Otherwise, there will be narrowing in the blood vessels, and you will get less energy as a result of it. Everybody knows it, actually. Additives in food, like sodium nitrate, for example, reduce the level of oxygen. They react with hemoglobin and interfere with the flow of oxygen. And the same can be said for carbon monoxide, which is always a component of cigarettes, and nicotine itself has the same effect. So life energy of a smoking person will be less in comparison with the one who does not smoke. And a person also should be healthy in general. Parasites and various infections are also negative, as they take part of your energy. So you should have a good physical condition. You can also do various energy practices, yoga for example, as it helps not only raise the energy level, but also teaches your body to use this energy correctly. There are also special exercises to control this energy, but not all of these practices are suitable, since a person must believe in it, have faith in it first of all. Actually, energy always follows your thought. In medicine, this is called self-hypnosis, but in reality, this is like giving an order to your energy. There are healers, for example, who supposedly treat with spells or magic, but in fact there is no magic. It is you believing in it. And you give orders to your energy, directing it, for example, to increase immunity.
Если, конечно, ты в него
And
веришь, и
that is
если
how
будет
it
там чего
works.
получаться.
You give the order to your energy.
Вот так вот. Я надеюсь, ответила я как.
I hope the answer to this question is full. Yeah. Afterwards, these 12 questions have completely changed my whole life on this planet. I am blessed with fate for this gift. Now our teachers are our creators. And I thank God for giving us such an opportunity to know, study, and bring this knowledge to all comers.